I can talk them off of these cliffs that I've been standing on going, I hate this game!
It's ruining my life.
And then, like, you know, after spending so much time talking them off cliffs, like, well, how do you beat Hecarim? You don't. Screw Hecarim.
Welcome to Casuals of Runeterra, episode 9. I'm your host, Ryan, with your other host, Hetch.
What is good?
We're back.
We made it.
The game's out.
We're back. The game's out, and we are still alive. We survived the first wave.
I know, right?
The first wave of holy crap.
New TCG. Housekeeping. You can listen to us anywhere. All right. Moving on, just joking.
Oh my god!
Obviously,
we've lost any chance of getting viewers now. Thanks.
I love that people pick up the episode and the first minute or two is just nonsense, and then they're like, "What is this even about?" But yeah, follow us on Twitter, keep up to date, and even up. I have to update that one with the last episode. But yeah, keep up to date. Podcast COR. That's Podcast Core. And then you can send us emails at podcastcore@gmail.com, spelled the same way. And then follow, short review, comment on anything. Anywhere you see it posted, just let us know. We do a lot of fun stuff at the end. So if you're participating in that, let us get your 2 cents in there so we can tell people about it. You got anything to say?
Now I don't.
So tell a friend to dig deep into the casuals of Runeterra podcast catalog. I tried to give you a chance before I did my line.
You monster.
So what am I playing? State of the game.
What are you playing?
I'm not having fun. And I don't mean that like I'm having fun because the game's out, but I'm not playing a fun deck. I'm still playing Jinx Draven aggro because I'm dirty and I'm a competitive shill.
Is this my fault? Like, is this because we keep reiterating that I'm the fun guy?
I know,
and
right?
You're not. That you're just like, oh, I'm not fun. I'll show you.
Yeah,
not
he's the
fun.
dad.
Click on
I'm
every
the
Jinx.
cop.
Good cop, bad cop.
Good cop, bad cop. But no, I mean, so the gist of it, and Swim did a good job in his video of kind of explaining how the fundamentals of not just playing the card game, but the environment around the card game works. So whenever you have a ladder system in a card game, you, at the beginning, usually aggro is king, because a lot of people are trying to use the new cards or trying to develop certain strategies that require some kind of build up or some kind of combo. So you go under that by just damage to the face. You see it in Hearthstone, you see it in MTG. It's a strategy as old as time. So in the first official weeks of laddering on a new fresh ladder, you usually get a boost ahead of your opponents because while they're trying to be fancy, you're playing the game by trying to kill them.
His video is very informative too, because he also breaks down like just as far as time investment.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you can sacrifice a win rate just to save time, and that time is going to get you up the ladder faster than what it would be to increase your win rate.
Yeah, he's a smart guy. Listen to him.
Guy's brilliant. I'm very upset with him.
I'm very upset. But Hatch, as usual, is playing something fun and utilizing
it was fun.
The release.
Fun is, an operable word here. Take it or leave it, because I'm having fun. I've gotten to play against a couple friends that jumped into the game.
Oh, really?
Off the launch, and
nice.
They're just like, yeah, beat me up with whatever deck you got. And I've got my brother has already just been like, never play this deck again. I never want to see this deck again, because I am playing Quinn and Misfortune Scout synergy.
Nice.
And as far as, especially with running, I think I cut it in the list that I'm going to end up sharing, but running like a copy of Relentless Pursuit, you can usually get a turn of attacking 3 times.
Yeah.
And one, being able to flip Misfortune on like the second turn she's on board is ridiculous. And 2, the amount of damage that Misfortune can pump out just with her static ability without ever even being on the attack is something that I think a lot of people are underestimate. But I'm having fun. It's an absolute blast. Do I still get absolutely manhandled by discard aggro or by karma control? Yes. It's I don't know how good my list is. I've seen that a couple of like the bigger names out there like Mega Mogwai and Swim have been playing around with Misfortune like yesterday. So it's like, okay, I'm gonna get to see how stupid I am, but I will send it to everyone so y'all can tell me how stupid I am.
Yes, Etch's lab is coming soon, so keep an eye out for that. And I'm looking for. I'm getting to the point where I'm going to start brewing. There's some ideas that I want to check out because I'm definitely, and I mentioned this like probably in the first podcast, I'm rebellious, not for the sake of being rebellious, but I like to play the counter to the meta, right? It's like, okay, well, the meta's here. What is missing, or what can, kind of exist to make sure that doesn't stick, and try to push people into other things as well. And I try to build those decks, like those alternative decks. Usually I fall within like the tier 2 level of things. So I still play popular cards, play the good cards, play the tier, but then I also try to challenge what people are doing and why they're doing it. But that's not why we're here.
That's not why we're here. Why are we here? Why are we here?
Hell nah. Hetch came up with the best name ever.
Oh, hell not. Nautilus?
Main topic. So yeah, this episode we're talking about Fizz and Nautilus.
We're going to Bilgewater, everybody.
Yeah, so our previous episode we finished with Anivia and Braum. Yeah.
Yes,
Anivia and Braum. And Anivia kind of opened the door to the champions that aren't directly related at the human level, right? It's the lore and the whimsical, the gods, the creatures, the beast, the foul beast,
the foul beasts of the land,
of the lands. As Riot, expanded their lore above. You see how I did? Just watching me do prayer hands as I say above and below.
Right, you can finish this episode on your own. I'm leaving.
But no, so we're gonna start off with our spells for this one, and I chose Lure of the Depths. So this one directly relates to Nautilus's lore in general, which is what I'll be focusing on. And the main thing I want to point out is, once again, it's a tutor card. We've been talking about a lot of tutor cards lately, right? And they've introduced more, because these are all Bilgewater, by the way. And that's introduced more cards into the pool. And this one is kind of cool because it's broken, in my opinion, in a way. And I think people aren't using it as much as they want to. People are splashing it in the current Nautilus decks. But it's dangerous because what it does is it's an ability to not only tutor a specific type of card, which is a new tribal. And I don't think we've spoken about tribal. I think we've probably touched on it. But the concept of tribal, the concept of tribal, which you'll see in like Magic the Gathering or in Hearthstone. So in Hearthstone is like Beast. Beast is a tribal set, right? Yeah. In Magic, Humans is a tribal set. It's essentially a class of card that they have other cards that give those specific cards abilities. And in this case, we have sea monsters now. So sea monsters fit into the lore of Nautilus. And here, specifically, it fetches a sea monster and then also reduces all sea monster cost by 1 for 3 mana.
And it also, I think it's important that like the keyword on it is everywhere instead of just all, because it's that same effect of like if you have some RNG thing giving you a sea monster in hand, that's going to be cheaper too. It's
exactly. Yeah. So the fact that you're doing it at burst speed, you're drawing that card, and then if you have enough mana, you can also play that now reduced cost card. That's a big deal. That's a big deal. So I think it's really cool. And I mean, we'll have more to say about these cards as we move on, but it just came out, right? And we decided to jump into Bilgewater to get started. So what do you have?
I've got one that's a little bit on the nose as far as for my excitement for jumping to Bilgewater. And so the card that I'm going to be looking at today is going to be Parlay. So, and it is actually spelled that way.
I did not know until the beginning of this episode.
You know, I am roped. I have an obligation to pronounce this card correctly, which is Parlay. But Parlay is going to be a 1 mana slow spell that is deal 1 damage to anything, and if this kills it, deal 1 damage to the enemy nexus. Which I do like the fact that it's giving you as far as synergy with the new plunder mechanics that are coming in with all the new cards, mostly from Bilgewater. There's a couple Freljord cards that match with Sejuani with plunder.
Yeah.
So this is a plunder enabler that you can get for pretty cheap. I don't know how like how many decks are going to be wanting to run this. I do think that with Gangplank and maybe a lot of like Powder Keg synergy, that this could get really scary really quick.
Yeah.
Because then that's 1 mana for a lot of damage. But my favorite part of this card is the fact that if it kills anything, it's deal 1 damage to the enemy nexus. So this is more hearkening to a lot of Magic the Gathering synergies around what a lot of Magic players will call ping cards. I know that there's like all kinds of different joke names as far as for the creatures that tap and deal damage. And this is a ping effect, and it's more like a Magic ping effect of like, okay, I need 1 more damage to get through. This guy's at 1 HP that I control, but I'm going to kill it with Parlay to get that 1 damage.
Yeah.
So I think this is showing a fun direction potentially. Who knows? And that's the fun of a new set. None of us know.
Yep. So we're moving to followers now. And my follower is something that I'm terrified of and fits very well into Nautilus' lore. Nautilus is, that's going to be hard to say, right? Nautilus.
Nautilus.
I know, right? But the Devourer of the Depths. And this is
card is great.
Oh my God. It's a 6 cost 4/4 with Deep, which I'll explain in a second. And on play, it obliterates an enemy with less health than itself. Okay, so let's talk about this creature. It's a giant cross between an anglerfish and an octopus. I don't know why it needs to exist, but it seems the gods have deemed it so, and that's a big problem. It is the first introduction of the keyword obliterate, which you would know as exile in Magic the Gathering. Behaves the same way. Essentially, you could destroy a creature that, if it has effects, does not matter. It removes it from the game, does not trigger any of its effects. That's a cool. I never thought they would bring exile into this game, so it definitely surprised me. I think it currently is the only thing that can obliterate.
I can burst your bubble if you'd like.
Yes,
it is not the first card that introduces obliterate. The first card that introduces obliterate is a Freljord card, She Who Wanders.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Because She Who Wanders has obliterate all followers with 4 or less power from play and in hand.
This is why I have you around. Yeah. But yeah, so obliterate. So that it's a cool concept. She Who Wanders is what, a 10 cost?
Yeah, it's a 10 cost. And I do agree with you though, as far as that it is exciting to see more of an exile effect coming in, because She Who Wanders was it.
Yeah.
That was it. But it was, that's the only counter that especially in a region like Freljord has to last breath effects.
Exactly.
Like otherwise, the only regions that have anything to deal with that is going to be Demacia, which, I mean, Demacia is kind of being geared out as more the aggro region. So should they really be the exile? The only answer to last breath. So it's cool.
It fits here. The obliterate keyword here, and it also provides it at a lower cost, which is cool. And then with the previous effects, like I told that we spoke about with the previous treasure card, is that it allows you to reduce the cost of it, so you can play it earlier. So being able to obliterate at a lower cost, helps with a lot of the new last breath effects that are available at the aggro side of things. So The cool thing about the flavor of this card, though, is that with anglerfish, if anybody's familiar, is they have this little lure on their head, which is right in front of their giant mouth. So their mouth is like something like, I don't know, the majority of their body. And they use it to lure in smaller fish that are attracted to the light. And then they eat them before they know what's happening, right? Because it's so dark at those depths. And then they combine that with an octopus. That's pretty much pretty much how we got here.
Like combined it with one of the most intelligent sea creatures.
Oh my gosh, yes,
on the planet. So what could make an anglerfish more terrifying?
Yeah,
smarts, brains.
Smart, yeah, because they're very dumb. So let's hope this never comes to pass in real life. Hopefully it remains in the game. What do you have for us, Edge?
So I'm going to be talking about, something that's a little bit, of a nicer creature to be seeing in the waters. Just a little more mischievous, so that way not all of us have nightmares tonight. So I'm going to be looking at Zap Sprayfin, which is a 4-mana 2/2 with elusive and new keyword attune. And when I'm summoned, draw a spell that costs 3 or less from your deck. And I'm glad that we are kind of really, keeping tabs on a lot of the tutor cards, because tutoring can be really powerful in the right decks. But I do like the direction Riot's going, where it's it's very focused. It's like, okay, like it's not gonna just be dark tutor.
Like, oh no, never again.
Yeah, we're staying focused. You're gonna have to build it. All right, like
you have to work for it.
It's not gonna be an auto occlude.
Yeah.
But I like the attune is a really fun thing, because with any creature with attune, when it's summoned, refills 1 spell mana, which I think is really cool with how many cheap spells are in Bilgewater exclusively. So I do like seeing a good bit of Bilgewater followers with attune. And I also like seeing that not all the creatures are going to be these from the depths sea monsters, like Nautilus brethren. Like, the ocean's got even in real life, the ocean has some of the most beautiful wildlife there that humans can see with, a little effort, not necessarily only deep sea equipment. So Runeterra should have something too that doesn't make you want to poop your pants in fear.
I didn't see this coming, to be honest. The Fizz side of things, when we go back to and you'll talk about the Atlantis style of approach to things, but I was happy to see this kind of juxtaposition to the flavor of the Nautilus deep horror stuff, that Lovecraftian stuff, because that's something that's missing from, for say, Shadow Isles, right? Like Shadow Isles, it's all one theme, right?
And it's only death.
There is only death.
Like, even the hope that comes from Shadow Isles, like if we get really deep into the lore, all the hope left. Like they got out of there. Like, so it's nice to see a little bit of yin and yang.
Hot take. I think that they're going to bring Blessed Isle cards in under Shadow Isles to break it up.
I think, I mean, that'd be fun, but I think we're a long way from that, because if they're do you think they're going to bring things that are, that have more lore effect into Runeterra first, or into League of Legends first? I feel
like the lore. I think they're using Runeterra for the lore. I think
you could be right.
I think League of Legends is going to benefit from it, but as far as like character redesigns, as far as lore pieces, I think it's probably to their benefit as a company, and it's easier to iterate on by introducing it here than in League of Legends. Because if it doesn't work in Runeterra, you can quickly get rid of it or tweak things and then bring it over, right? Before you just say, okay, it's in League of Legends. Because League of Legends is still the dominant property and will continue to be.
That's fair. Okay. Yeah, I can see it. The more I think about it.
Yeah. Let's get into our champions then. Nautilus.
Nautilus.
This card.
Nautilus.
Oh, hell not.
Oh, hell not.
This guy. And he thought I was bad with my cheese lines.
I learned it from watching you.
Bad influences. But Nautilus. So Nautilus is a cool story. Like I said, we're sticking with the theme of the unexplainable, right? So Nautilus actually was a man. He was a tall, strong, salvage free diver who that's what his kind of thing was, but he was super superstitious. He was superstitious about the ocean and paying respects to it, right? So his whole thing was anytime he would set out for work to do some deep diving for salvage, he would always pay respect or ask the captain of the ship to pay respect to the ocean before they set out. But one day, his boat and crew were hired, or I guess the contract for their crew was taken by a man who had the intent of finding some long lost treasure, right? You hear that story all the time. And on the trip out, Nautilus asked him to make sure you pay respect to the ocean before we do this, because he had this giant suit, which we're now familiar with, that Nautilus wears. And Nautilus was a free dive, like he didn't use a suit. It was just kind of hold your breath, do your thing. But he gave him this suit because he wanted him to dive deeper than usual. And naturally you have the pressures of the ocean and this would protect him against those. So he's like, okay, cool. As long as you pay your respects, we're good to go. So he jumps overboard during the excursion. He's tied to an anchor as they lower him down, and he starts to get lower and lower. But then he notices he's starting to be pulled by some ominous presence at the bottom of the ocean. And he tries to fight against it. The anchor snaps and he gets pulled down, right? Loses consciousness. And then he comes back randomly to consciousness years later with only this intent for punishing those who refuse to pay the debt, because his whole thing is the only reason it went wrong, since it's the first time it's ever gone wrong, is because he thinks the captain did not pay proper respects to the ocean and he was punished for it. And that kind of goes back to what we've talked about in the past about Shadow Isles, right? And how you die in the Shadow Isles and you come back with only one goal, which is usually something along the lines of a revenge or vengeance. And Nautilus fits this creed, but this time being triggered by the bottom of the ocean. Now, is it Shadow Isles related?
I mean, it's like it could also be argued as like, is this, not more tying to Shadow Isles, but more like a deeper story that we don't know about yet, exactly. Because Anivia being part of Freljord, like being part of the land, was there for countless years, saw the rise and fall of first kind of civilization. The Shadow Isles, we don't really know how long they've been like the Shadow Isles either. We know that there's like a part of history when they were the Blessed Isles, but that's like ancient history at this point. Like, so is this the Shadow Isles magic that got into Nautilus's I mean, we would have to say at that point it would be his corpse and it's a spirit coming back out.
Exactly.
Or is it something more sinister that is tied to the ocean?
Yeah. Well, or even if you go back to our Elise episode where we talk about, the spider god merging with her in a weird symbiotic thing that wasn't really expected, right? That could be the same thing here where it's both him and the presence of that dark presence, because he does start to grow. Like, he is a monster now. He is not the same big strong. He's not just a 6'6", like tankle. He's like a monument in the ocean.
Okay. How do you translate a monster, a monument in the ocean, into card form?
Oh, well, this is how you do it. He's a 7-cost, 0/12 with tough and fearsome, which makes sense. With when I level up, copy tossed allies that cost 4+ into your deck. When you are deep, that's when he flips. The deep keyword Reddit is having a lot of fun with.
Of course.
But when Nautilus flips, he turns into a 13/13 that says all sea monster allies cost 4 less. So not only have you already lost the game when you played him the first time, but when he flips, it's like, wait, you're still here? Rise.
Arise.
This card is insane, and it's almost it's a clock. I mean, we talk about clocks all the time. We just got done talking about Tryndamere, right? This is a clock, because you put a 0/12 on there's nothing that's removing this. if you're not
Oh,
playing.
it's there. Like
Yeah.
only like what? Like only one card that's getting rid of it is Ruination and Vengeance.
Yeah.
Everything else, you're at least 2 for 1ing or 3 for 1ing yourself.
Exactly. So you're either bouncing it, you're frostbiting it, you're doing something, but at this point you got it. And it's interesting because with Deep, you're dealing with toss mechanics. And the cool thing about toss is that it kind of forces the player, you're playing a control deck with toss sort of, but you are also on your own timer because you're destroying your deck, right?
Yeah.
So you can't just be doing it forever. You can't drag the game out until your opponent loses. You actually have to win the game. So that's a cool card. Yeah,
I do love with the level up though, because he does shuffle at least the tossed allies back in.
Yes.
So you're not getting like the spells back, but like he resets your clock a little bit.
Yeah.
Not completely, but a little bit, which is nice. And like that's such a heavy investment to make yourself deep in a timely manner. So it's a good payoff. Like this is the kind of, with the investment you're having to put into this card, this is the kind of payoff that I would expect. All right. I would expect to have a 13-13.
Yeah.
No chump block here, son.
Yeah. You don't slide him into any deck. He is a very theme specific deck champion.
And we can also make fun of the fact that he works off of toss, because you have to toss a coin.
Oh my God, to your Witcher. Yeah.
To your Nautilus.
To your Nautilus.
Oh, ocean of plenty.
Oh no. All right, we're not doing this. Actually,
we're getting sued.
I'm gonna make that meme right now and get some Reddit points. Go ahead with the other tricks. I say the other trickster, but it's funny because what you're about to talk about actually has a connection to Nautilus.
Trickster.
Trickster.
I'm going to the trickster. Yeah. And I'm gonna do mine a little different. I want to talk about the card.
Yeah.
Before I dive in,
nice.
Because I have
before you dive in, this guy,
hey, you let me have it. You let me have that one. All right,
I'll stop.
I earned my licks. But so I want to talk about the card first, because I've mentioned a lot on this show that Riot does a great job of translating champions into cards and making it feel very similar to how they would play in League of Legends.
Yeah. And
they still went and knocked another one out of the park. They hit a 420-foot home run with this
no
one.
sports. Wait.
Oh, my bad. Wrong.
Joking.
Esports only.
We do sports here. All right. We're casuals and we love sports.
They pentakilled this one. We're
as
so
you
sued.
were.
All right, but so Fizz is a 1 mana 2/1 creature, but a champion. And when you cast a spell, give me elusive and stop all enemy spells and skills targeting me. Anyone who has played League of Legends has some nightmare that involves a fed Fizz and the troll pole.
Yeah.
All right. Like everyone has that nightmare. We've all lived it. All right. Like just this is a safe space to talk about how Fizz destroyed you and your whole team. All right. And they did such a great job, because this is the closest thing in this card game that could be the troll pole.
Yeah.
But then the animation is actually his spear coming up out of the board.
Yeah.
And it's like you're looking at Fizz and you're going, you little piece of crap. Like this, I hate this kid. All right. So with Fizz, once he levels up, it is leveling up once you have cast 6+ spells this game.
Yeah.
Luckily, it is not a C trigger, so he doesn't have to be sitting on the board to actively see you casting all those spells. So that's definitely nice, but it's still like technically it's a heavy investment, but we've been given a ton of cheap spells, so it's definitely doable. So once he levels up, he's going to be a 3/2, same effect as before, and then Nexus Strike, create a Chum the Waters. Chum the Waters is also a unique spell too, and Chum the Waters is a 4-mana slow spell. Grant an enemy vulnerable, so then anyone can challenge it, even if they don't have Challenger, and summon Longtooth, which is a 5/1 shark. Chum the Waters is a very roundabout and interactable kill spell, but it's a kill spell. And like every fed Fizz in the planet has given you a nightmare because you just see the shark swimming at your feet. And you're just looking at your HP, you're over 3/4 HP, and you go, I'm fine.
I'm fine.
And we all know you're not. We all know you're not.
Man.
But yeah, enough about the card. They did it great. They knocked this one out of the park. I love it. But so Fizz is the trickster. He is a very mischievous being, and he is going to be, for the podcast, our first Yordle that we talk about. And everyone has a very irrational hatred of Yordles, and it's because Yordles are spirits that are naturally very mischievous. They're very fun-loving. They're very outgoing, even though they do keep to themselves. They keep only to Yordles, but they're very social, outgoing, and mischievous creatures that choose to take the form usually of furry little bipeds. But since they are spirits, they can take many forms. And Fizz is an amphibian Yordle. So he was taking a very amphibious form because he was a thriving member of an underwater civilization that history doesn't know about. Like, we only know about it from Fizz because he's the only survivor of Atlantis. Right? He found the city and he decided to go have drinks with the guys. Right. But while he is going around, he's scouting the waters and everything to try to help out the city, help them grow and thrive. They get attacked by a horde of Gigalodons, which is only spelled out as dragon sharks. What the hell, Bilgewater?
Dragon sharks.
What? Dragon sharks?
Sounds like a minor team, like a minor league hockey team.
Dragon sharks. Dragon sharks. No, that sounds like a Japanese baseball team. That's what it sounds like. With like the coordinated, scripted chants. I could see people cheering for the Dragon Sharks.
Man.
But the Dragon Sharks, they come in and they wipe the civilization off the face of the earth. Well, the face of the ocean. And the only explanation that we have as far as the time frame is that Fizz gets so depressed that he becomes catatonic. And he lets the currents take him. And then he stays in that state until a pile of coins falls onto his sleeping body and wakes him up. And he goes, what was that? And then he sees what he describes as wooden fish swimming on top of the ocean in the air. And then pops his head out. That's the first time he sees humans, and he decides, I'm going to go hang out with these guys. And everyone in Bilgewater from that point learns that the playful trickster will either lead you to fish or lead you to your doom, depending on how he's feeling for the day.
And I think the cool connection there is that coin is related to the issue with Nautilus. So Fizz unknowingly played a part because those coins that hit him, he took, but those were supposed to go to the, what do they call her? The goddess of the sea.
I don't remember like the actual name because I keep going with the joke name or like the pirate name they give her, which is the bearded lady.
Yeah, the bearded lady. Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So that's what you're going for. Good. I'm not crazy.
So Fizz took those coins and essentially went back to hang out with the dudes, but that was supposed to go to the bearded lady, which is the reason Nautilus was created, because he thought that they never gave the tithe when the tithe was actually taken by Fizz because he's just having a good old time.
It's again, it's the playful trickster.
Yeah.
Like nothing that he does is like
Malicious. Yeah.
is malicious. He is very pure of heart, and all Yordles are. It's just that they do whatever comes to them on a whim. And one of the things that's constantly brought up is that Fizz is constantly popping out of water unexpected because he's throwing tithes back at people.
Yeah.
Because he thinks it's funny. And I'm gonna end this whole little rant as far as with a quote from the lore, a direct quote from Ezreal.
Yeah.
And that quote is Yordles. Why did it have to be Yordles? Why did it have to be Yordles?
And that kind of takes us to our fate of the game, right? So obviously for the fate of the game this episode, we're going to talk about the release and kind of what we thought or what we think, right? It's only been a few days.
Yeah, like what do you mean what we thought? I'm still thinking.
I know, right? It's been interesting. You're seeing recently on Reddit, I posted the statistics of the growth of the subreddit since they released like their first trailer and all that stuff. And it's cool to see the spike of people. I mean, we all knew it was going to happen, but it's actually happening. Hetch even mentioned that a couple of his friends who are more casual got into it during release because, a lot of the player base or a lot of people didn't want to touch it until it was officially released, right? Beta is kind of intimidating for a lot of people. And now you officially have it out. People are getting ready for tournaments. Things are happening. So people are getting involved and they're actually taking the chance because this is a more difficult game to get into. There is a higher barrier of entry. Even though, the lore is fun, the cards are fun, the casual aspect is there, playing the game still takes a huge learning curve in the grand scheme of things. So what do you think so far of the release?
I'm super excited because I've been saying since episode 1 what I want to see is new cards, new champions, and I got new cards and I got new champions.
So you're happy camper.
I'm in my playground. I'm having a blast, but it's really encouraging to see just how quickly that the launch is really taking off. Like we definitely are seeing the player base come in, and you can feel it in your games too. Like I'm getting games really quickly.
Yeah.
I'm getting into games very quickly. The queue times are super short, but I'm still getting a balance of playing against people that have clearly been playing as long as I have, and playing against people who don't know how tough work. So then it's like, oh no, you just 3 for 0'd yourself because of tough. I'm so sorry, dude. I swear the game's fun.
I promise.
So you can tell that the player base has exploded, and that's super exciting. And it's only going to get more because of the fact that mobile is out too.
Have you played on your phone yet?
Yeah, I played a little bit on my phone. I have a game on my phone, Arc Knights.
Yeah.
And it's one of those kind of like auto battler, like you leave it and forget it things. So I haven't been playing too much on my phone because I'd rather play on my computer while that's running on my phone. But I know for a fact that like my brother Austin, he's only playing because they went to mobile.
Nice.
It's like, oh, mobile's out. Okay, sweet. Download. Tell me how this works.
Nice,
So it's I think a lot of people are going to get into it just because it's now in
and everyone has a phone.
Media. Everyone has a phone.
80% of the world.
God.
Or 75%. It's somewhere up there. It's insane. Yeah.
They got us.
They did it.
They got us.
Fun little fact. 85% of teens have an iPhone. So do with that what you will.
Oh my.
Anyways, that being said, so from my angle, I'm loving this release, right? Like obviously we're big card fanatics since we were babies, since we were in the womb. And the cool thing about this, I'm definitely, like I already mentioned, that I kind of go against the grain. I like to challenge certain things, but it's cool to see all the questions that used to come up when the game first came out in beta come up again. You have a lot of people asking, well, how tough works, like you mentioned, or how does frostbite actually work, or stunning versus recalling, like what's the difference? And like those, and it's cool to hop on Reddit and be like, okay, I'm a senpai now. I can go in and say, oh, this is what you're doing, this is what happened. And that's fun in my spare time to share that knowledge to get people into card games. Because being there, I don't like walled gardens, right? I like, even though the game's complicated, and we both have experience playing card games and playing this specific one, I don't want to say, oh, you noob, you don't know how to play, you don't deserve to be here.
Yeah.
Because we've seen what that's done to games. Cough, cough, Dota. And when
cough, cough, League of Legends.
I know, right? League of Legends. So I want to bring those people in and be like, hey, stick with it. It's fun. And you'll feel good when you get those wins and when you pull off these, complicated feats of the mind.
Yeah. And that is one of the things that I've been really enjoying is talking to my friends through how different mechanics work and how to play.
Yeah.
Because I can be there to talk them off of cliffs that I've been on already.
Yeah.
Like Fiora being overpowered. How in the world is 4 kills all it takes? That's ridiculous.
Oh, don't worry.
I've played enough now to where it's like, if you bounce her, it resets. If you kill her, it resets.
Yeah.
If you kill your creature, doesn't count. Like there's so many ways to play around a Fiora.
Yeah.
Like you just got to learn how to play it. So I can talk them off of these cliffs that I've been standing on going, I hate this game.
It's ruining my life.
And then after spending so much time talking them off cliffs, they're like, well, how do you beat Hecarim? You don't. Screw Hecarim.
Who's this Ladros guy? I keep hearing. No, we're not talking about Ladros. We can't have him dominate every episode.
If we say Ladros too much, we'll get fired.
I know, right?
It'll be fully over. And then we have to face that guy. We have to face the creator of Ladros. You lost me my job.
So we won't talk about Ladros, but we will talk about this part of the episode where we come to the end, and I have something for Hedge.
No.
It's not bad this time. Listen, we had Poro eggs.
Oh, it's not bad.
Yeah, it's getting a little easier, right? This one we're just going to talk about what our most terrifying sea creature is, like existing sea creature, because everybody has. Listen, you may not have a fear of the ocean or a fear of water, but everyone has something that they've seen that terrifies the hell out of them that lives down there. And I'll go first because it's simple and we've talked about it, and Riot decided to merge one with an anglerfish. It's an octopus. Those things, the only reason humans are allowed to exist is because the one feature that has blessed us is that an octopus cannot work together with another octopus. They refuse to. Therefore, they cannot progress. But outside of that, they are so smart. They're so dexterous. They're basically liquid. It's like, it's terrifying. And I've had, I'm not going to go too much into my life, but I should have drowned by this point. The ocean has tried to take me multiple times in my youth, but I love water.
What kind of self-respecting Jamaican man can you be that like the ocean almost conquered you? Like, it's like that should be the only place you feel at home.
I know, right? And I can swim, and I'm very like I can do all that stuff. There are very specific cases, but we won't go into that. But what we will go into is that I never really developed a fear of it, but I'm aware of what's around me, and I love water. So yeah, octopus is it for me. I don't like watching the videos of them putting them in jars and watching them escape. I don't like to see any of that because I already know. So we just got to continue to hope that they never work together and sign a treaty amongst themselves, because that's when the end starts. All right,
the Treaty of the Octopi.
The Treaty of the Octopi.
Okay, so mine is very easy.
Yeah.
I can jump to it real quick. For the most part, like you can kind of just subclassify it under jellyfish.
Oh my god.
But I'm gonna go. Like, if I have to pinpoint one, it's going to be the Man of War.
Oh, no.
Octopi are, like, they're so intelligent.
Yeah.
And, yes, like, if you take that intelligence and you let your imagination run with it, yeah, that's scary.
Yeah.
Jellyfish can come up into enough current to be washed onto the shore, and if you're not paying attention and you step on a jellyfish, your whole day is ruined.
And someone has to pee on you.
Ruined. And then someone has to pee on you, because that's apparently the only logical conclusion that humans can come to. Like, no, like we can't do any better than this.
Help! Like, help! Someone pee on me, please! Help!
And like I was blessed. For growing up. My one of my dads, but my dad chewed he chewed tobacco a lot.
Yeah.
So I was blessed that I only had to have a wad of ABC tobacco stuck to my leg. So then it's like, as long as I don't think about the fact that my dad's spit is all over my leg, this might feel better.
Yeah.
But no, jellyfish suck.
Yeah.
Like even like the ones that just aren't like absolutely terrifying.
Yeah.
Is like very low venom. Your day's ruined.
That's a good point, because and to the point of like the opposite side of the spectrum, like you said, they're very dumb, and they're essentially floating trash bags. But they're floating trash bags with electricity. So it's like, dude, the ocean is a scary place.
Yeah, the ocean is terrifying.
Whenever you take a shower, watch your back. That's the message. That's the message we're bringing you here.
If you're taking a bath, make sure that you don't go to the deep.
Don't to the deep.
And toss a coin to your Nautilus.
I gotta take that me. All right, I got some work to do. That's gonna do it for us here. This has been a fun one, and we're gonna stay in Bilgewater for a bit and check out some of these other champions, these other cards, because why not? It's fun, it's new.
Yeah, I mean, we gotta stay in Bilgewater for a bit because we gotta talk about some pirates, maybe.
Can't. Oh, you already know what the challenge is going to be for that one. Anyways, thanks for listening, guys, and we'll be back soon with the next episode.
Bye, everybody.